I really feel like right now might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I've been doing this for 18 years now, and I've just never seen a market where the rates are so low and values across the country have skyrocketed as much as they have. That combination, I remember one couple in particular, they were looking to do some home improvements at the house, but they were worried about their payments going up. Well, with rates being so low, and them building up so much equity in the home over the last few years, we were able to get them to cash out for those home improvements, and their payments actually went down a little bit. Every single situation is different, but it does happen more often than you think, so it definitely does not hurt to call.
We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage, 425 Middle Park Road, Melbourne, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSconsumerAccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. License Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
The challenges facing Americans are substantial at a time when our values, our freedoms, our constitutional rights are under attack. It's more important than ever to stand with the American Center for Law and Justice. For decades now, the ACLJ has been on the front lines, protecting your freedoms, defending your rights, in courts, in Congress, and in the public arena. And we have an exceptional track record of success. But here's the bottom line. We could not do our work without your support. We remain committed to protecting your religious and constitutional freedoms. That remains our top priority, especially now during these challenging times. The American Center for Law and Justice is on your side. If you're already a member, thank you. And if you're not, well, this is the perfect time to stand with us at aclj.org, where you can learn more about our life-changing work. Become a member today. aclj.org.
So, not only does President Biden, he doesn't have time. He could go all around the country talking about, an economic stimulus and this infrastructure, and it's very confusing. So, hey, I'll get a good audience for school kids because they're going to go home and say, yes, Mom and Dad, we want infrastructure, but it's the same. Again, there was another gas that, or if you want to call it that anymore. But I want you to understand, in that CNN town hall, not only did he say he doesn't have time to visit now, he definitively said he's been there. No, he's been a U.S. Senator for as long as I've been alive. He's been elected office and running for president. I think most of the time I also have been alive. I can't remember his first campaign for president. I do remember his second because I was working out in Iowa for George W. Bush. We were just doing some caucus bits. He was on a re-elect campaign. I think he finished last. But ultimately, so you would think over all that time, okay, maybe there's a photo op that he did or visited with the Customs and Border Patrol as senator, as vice president, as that time period between running for office, again, and running for president, that maybe you would have this photo. No, that's not how he visited the border. Take a listen about how Joe Biden, the President of the United States, today, with the new numbers out, we know, has the highest number of encounters, and that number is 800,000 more than we've ever seen in a fiscal year, 1.7 million encounters in 2021. The highest number in current history. If you go back to 2019, it doesn't even touch 1 million. There was a lot of people, 900,000 people, but that's a lot difference than putting a 1 in front of that 900,000, which is almost what you can do in the current situation. But take a listen, because as you might have heard him say definitively, I haven't been there, done that. Well, not exactly. Line 3.
Why did President Biden say he has been to the border?
Well, Peter, as you may have seen, there's been reporting that he did drive through the border when he was on the campaign trail in 2008, and he's certainly familiar with the fact, and it stuck with him, with the fact that in El Paso, the border goes right through the center of town.
So that's the thing. The border goes through the center of town. I mean, here he was driving through El Paso, and sometime in 2008, they don't have the date exactly, but I mean, I think you can go back and figure it out. And now people are wondering, did he actually even see it, the way the route that they took? Because she was just kind of generally referencing, well, if you're in El Paso, you can see the border there. I mean, I don't know if he saw it from 100 yards away, 200 yards away, but what she isn't trying to claim is that he ever got out of the car.
Absolutely not.
And so what we have is this possibility that Joe Biden, not as Vice President Biden, not as President Biden, drove through El Paso, Texas, searching for a takeaway taco stand. That is essentially his involvement with the border.
I mean, listen, you can't make this up, right? They are the ones telling us, okay, fine, Peter Ducey, you've been asking, you've seen, every day in that briefing he asked about visiting the border, he talks about Harris, with that, when Biden will visit, and they finally came up with an answer for him. And I'm thinking about the White House staff there, and I've worked a lot with the communications team at White House, dealing with difficult questions that are going to come, and we were working with them during Mueller, during serious things, impeachment. This, I guess they've been spinning around. Okay, what's a new answer we can give to the Fox News guys? And then it's like the worst Washington answer of all time, especially for a guy who's been in political office since most of us, I can remember. I won't say since all of us have been born, but I mean almost. And that's his career. And the fact that he doesn't have the picture there, can't even reference it. And even if it was true, Thad, it's such typical Washington to think that 2008, 22, this is a pretty big chunk of time. There's been a lot of changes in our country since 2008. But yet this was the best answer that his team could come up with.
Jordan, it's worse than just saying I haven't ever been there. I mean, honestly, it is, because it's so easy to poke holes in. As you point out, the facts on the ground, the evidence, the problem at the border has changed dramatically from that time. Jordan, he's president right now. We need solutions from him right now to address this record high surge. And, I find it interesting. We talk a lot about the ministry of presence. Sometimes you do just have to show up to make a difference in a problem. But I'll tell you this, Jordan, I think, leadership starts at the top and it trickles down through the administration. There are a lot of people at various levels of this administration that have the fiduciary duty to address this problem right now. And I would go first to the vice president. She's the border czar, right? Jordan, it makes a lot more sense to me now why she is not traveling down there, because the leadership from the top that she sees embodied by the President of the United States says that you don't have to go to the source of the problem to address it. So it makes a whole lot more sense on that level right now to me, Jordan.
Yeah, I get the sense that, like what you're talking about, you can talk about what are the problems in the other countries leading to these mass migrations. I don't think that that's a problem. But what about being with our Border Patrol, being with our ICE officials, being with the people who are on the ground? Like Dan said, the ministry of presence, the idea that you've got their back as president, which has not been the case in this administration, which is why I don't think they want to go, because I don't think they do have the back of the Border Patrol. And in terms about them, they're just down there trying to do a job that's impossible, because there's an invasion of people. When you talk about 1.7 million people over a fiscal year, and you've got rid of Remain in Mexico, you got rid of Operation Talon, you stop building the border wall. That is, to me, and it's an invasion, and yet the forces on the ground there that are dealing with this on our domestic side, on our border, that doesn't feel like the president's got their back, and he won't even show up just to at least indicate that he understands how difficult of a situation they're dealing with.
Look, you can't understand a problem unless you go there and see it yourself. We're not asking him to go to New Zealand or Australia. We're not asking him to go to outer Mongolia. We're asking him to get on Air Force One and to fly an hour and a half or 2 hours to the southern border and spend some time there with the Border Patrol agents. And I don't mean in El Paso, and I'm going to steal a phrase from my colleague Harry Hutchison. This has become a drive-by presidency. That's all he is. He's looking for taco stands, and that was 13 years ago. Things have changed substantially in 13 years. The numbers you gave, Jordan, for the fiscal years in 2018, 2019, 20, and 2021 show the immense surge in migrants that are coming across and encounters that we are having. You don't think that has changed in 13 years? He was there 13 years ago. Rather now he would take a bicycle ride in Delaware, where he's from, rather than go to the border and give a hand to have first-hand encounter with the border agents and to see what the situation is. I mean in Del Rio, I mean in parts of Texas and New Mexico and Arizona that are on the front line in this massive invasion. He needs to do that.
We're taking your calls at 1-800-684-3110. The question I'm posing is how serious of a problem you believe this is for the country. Whether you're in a border state, I think you're seeing it differently. But now we're starting to see these groups, in the middle of the night. They've got planes landing in Westchester, New York. Why? Why is it at 4 a.m. that you're flying, the migrants in? Why try to do everything like in secret or make it look like you're trying to do things in secret? I want to go to the phones. First, I'm going to take Vincent's call first out of Los Angeles. On line 3. Hey, Vincent, welcome to Secular. You're on the air.
Hey, thank you for taking my call, first of all. And I'm just kind of